Welcome to the Red Booth Show. Tonight we have for you Alex Russell and David O'Donnell.
Hello.
Woo! Thanks so much for coming on the show, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, very cool.
I'm very aware of my ring. I want to make sure I don't do any sound issues. So I just get it all out of my system now.
That's the musical number.
Right, yeah. That's for later when you do the singing and dancing part.
Yeah, that's good.
That's the musical talent of Alex Russell.
Right.
Yeah, we didn't want it. Yeah, that's about the extent of
it. He plays the ring, guys. It's very...
I do. The Ring 7.
Yeah.
Coming out this Halloween.
Oh, that's great. That's great. That's right, because this is Halloween, and we're doing our special Halloween episode. And we have very scary guests, obviously, for that. So,
that was a little scary.
Yeah.
We've got the red booth. We've got the blood red booth. There's nothing better than a red booth.
Yeah, this is actually painted with blood.
Oh, good.
But you wouldn't know. I mean, I had to put special treatment on it to keep it red.
It's incredible. Like it's like the smell is completely gone.
Yeah, yeah.
It feels very, very elegant.
It tastes like blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've got red and black, so we've got all the colours of negative, awful emotion in place. Your dress. There's a good colour scheme over here. We've got bats.
Yes, I've got my Frankenstein
mummies.
and some Dracula teeth, and thanks to Pinup Girl clothing.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Pinup Girl clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should try it sometime.
Yeah, I'll have to. I'll have to check it out.
Anyway, so yeah, well, I know that you guys have recently done a project together, and you've been working together sort of, or being comrades, I should say, in this film business here.
Yeah.
Yes. Working
right.
together and being comrades.
Basically, like, it's an industry where it's, work can be sporadic, and then it can be plentiful, and then there can be a drought again. And if you're working on things that you're passionate about and excited about, you get those moments of gold sort of peppered throughout your career. And I think it comes to a point where you sort of go, these are the projects that I want to make. And Dave really sort of kick-started that. We made, so you've seen the film, the short that we did together.
I saw the short film about love and dating in Los Angeles.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That was also very good for a Halloween theme. That was very scary.
Yeah, actually that's true. It is actually, it's somewhat appropriate for Halloween.
I mean,
it's a comedy, but it's a black comedy. And
it's a black comedy.
It's a scary comedy.
Well, dating in LA is very scary.
That's pretty much what we were trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally related to that, so.
Yeah.
I haven't killed anyone lately, but.
I think anyone that lives in this town that has a pulse will relate to that. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, we made that together, and Dave wrote that, and
very cool.
And I directed it.
Yeah.
And it was my first directing job.
That's so cool! Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
Did a great job.
Yeah.
Did a really good job.
Thanks, dude. I know you're just saying that.
I am.
He was very unhappy with me.
How was it to be finally on the other side of the camera? Because you've been doing all these projects and like.
Yeah, it was incredible. It was. I honestly I enjoyed it as much as I enjoy acting. I really loved it. There was just so much more in it than we were expecting. Dave was incredible. He really sort of took the reins. It says that we both produced it, but Dave did like 90% of the work.
Wow.
Basically.
Good job.
And it was different skill sets and different areas, but yeah.
But Chase was, anyway, regardless, Chase was, I feel like he'd gone through that, he'd produced it, he'd been through, the ins and outs of it, and
he made a low budget feature. He knew how to pull. He made a $500,000 feature and did a really good job. And we did this short essentially on no budget, but I think it looks really good and got a really nice film out of it. So it takes some tricks and know-how to get that end result, especially of essentially no budget.
Yeah, and as we were talking about this the other night because I was thinking about, because I really want to do another one. I want to do another one next year. I'm trying to think when I might do that. And I was asking him about it, and he was sort of telling me just the hectic post-production process.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I was away, doing something else, and Dave was basically, sort of took over a lot of duties that we would have really handled together. And yeah, it's funny how you were talking about what were you saying?
Yeah, just going through the sound mix and the grade and little things that when you're making a short film on under $10,000, I think you have to pull lots of tricks and do lots of things to get the film that you want. But I think the important thing is to have the vision and try to compromise as little as possible and go after exactly what you want.
If you're in a situation where you're not going to compromise the quality and blah blah blah, where you don't have money, basically you're paying in time. So it's it'll take 5 times longer than it did otherwise.
Yeah.
So coming in and dealing with did you come in and deal with all the decisions on the cut, or did you do that, or how did you guys do that?
Alex did most of it, but I had to sort of chip in here and there, and so Alex essentially did that and put the video edit together and did it.
You guys did a great job, and I loved it. I came to the screening and I thought it was really cool. So congratulations.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for coming to the screening.
Yes, thank you for having me. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yeah. You're welcome.
If there's one thing I like about America it's that there's lots of booths here.
There are a lot of booths.
You go to a restaurant, there's commonly booths, and I don't know. That's one thing I really
They're kind of
like
cozy,
about
right?
America.
I like it.
I just needed chocolate shake right now.
Yeah.
Some fries.
I could have a booth in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that was how it all started. I just really wanted a booth in my house, and there you go.
We should get one.
Yeah.
We should get a booth.
But I'm actually serious.
Yeah.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
What do you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it look like I'm not serious?
This used to be in my kitchen before. This is where I was.
Really?
Yes, I wanted to eat.
Oh,
wow.
All right, so I want to talk about how you guys are both Aussies, because I think it's really cool. And I know that you guys came here together.
Yes. Yes.
Would you like to tell us a story about that and your sort of past in acting in Australia?
Yeah. So we've been here nearly 2 years now. We came roughly the same time, a week or two apart. Alex graduated drama school in 2008. I graduated in 2007. So we both worked in Australia, different projects there. We're both working on projects since then. We spent 3 or 4 years there working on film and theatre and TV and
Cool.
whatever. And and then so I've been over here since.
Yeah, it's definitely going great. I mean, you guys have got a lot of stuff going on. I came here also from Australia.
We know.
Yeah.
Yes, and you would never know. It's you can't tell. But yeah, I lived in Perth until I was 8 years old, and I moved here and I spoke fully Australian. Everyone else had this weird accent, and I thought it was very strange. And so my mom's whole side is Australian, and I love my whole Australian family and being part of that. And I think Australians have a bit of a gusto that.
You've got to make it for a trip back.
Oh yeah, I definitely want to do that.
Yeah.
Definitely, but I didn't live. You guys lived on the East Coast, right?
Oh, that's right.
I grew up in Sydney, but I actually went to college in Perth. I went to
a
drama school called Western Australian Academy of Performing Arts.
Gosh.
Really good drama school, but it's on the other side of the country.
Yeah.
So I spent 3 years there, and
that's so cool.
I have an affinity for Perth, and
I just know for me that the beaches are I'm spoiled.
Hot as life.
I'm totally spoiled.
Beautiful beaches,
Yeah.
beautiful coastline in Western Australia, and I'd love to get back there soon.
And the sunset is just insane.
Yeah, I'm a surfer.
That's right, because you guys were on the East Coast, so I mean,
You don't
we
get
get to have the beach sunset out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the beach sunrise.
Yeah, but who's up for that? You
Hey,
are,
he's
I
a
guess,
surfer.
'cause you're a surfer, but
That's
I'm not
right.
up for that.
He was like a competitive surfer and stuff.
Yeah. I grew up surfing.
How strange, because I mean, Australians surf, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, so much so that every time someone says, "Oh, you Australian?" I'm like, "Yeah," and they're like, "Oh, do you surf?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like,
what is wrong? Yeah.
"Well, it was good meeting you."
Yeah, nice to meet you anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
They talk to him. He's like, "You surf?" And he's like, "Yeah, I surf. Do you want to go for a lesson sometime?" They're like, "Yeah, that sounds good." I just
Girls like that.
stay in the car.
That's it.
This is an accurate portrait of real life.
This is for
by the
real.
way.
I totally believe you.
This is lies. They're all lies. But yeah, that is one of the things. We live just near Hollywood, so it is a bit. I grew up on the beach, so it is a bit funny being here and not living right on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up having grown up on the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the weirdest thing to me, just a quick last little thing of nostalgia, but they closed the beaches here, and over there in Perth they didn't when I lived there, so you could always go on the beach at any time.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really strange that they
Yeah.
closed them here, but
Yeah, I found
anyways.
that out. I tried to go to a beach at
Yeah.
night, and cops came up and said I couldn't.
I could just imagine
This is
that.
news to me.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, see, they closed the
beaches
beaches.
at night. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I thought
But
it
the
was
beach
horrible.
is
I was like,
public
that's
property.
sacrilege,
The
right?
beach is
Yeah.
public property.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know. That's exactly what I said. I'm sure they have a lot of Australians that randomly come to the beach and why is the beach closed?
Yeah, I think.
Wow.
I think we find a way around. You know, Australians are all convicts. Australia was settled by convicts, so you know our ancestors are all convicts. So you know,
The ones who don't quite follow the rules, maybe.
yeah, we tend to find our way around rules, maybe.
Right. Bureaucracy.
Sons of Salt, right?
Mhm.
So what is that supposed to represent? Like the story, Sons of Salt.
Yeah, Sons of Salt. So essentially, it's about. Well, it was sort of inspired by the beach that I grew up at.
Oh, okay.
Which is called Maroubra Beach.
Did you say Marva?
Maroubra.
Maroubra.
Which is.
Maroubra.
Yeah.
Okay, where's that?
It's in Sydney.
It's in Sydney. Okay.
Yeah, and it's a working class beach. I guess you could
So
compare
it's not a
it
nude
to.
beach.
Well, you
A
know,
nude beach.
It's Australian. What do I want?
Australia, you know, you can be topless. You know,
I know. It's always like
So-
he's like what?
Yeah, maybe.
That's
if you-
true. People kind of do that. No one really says anything.
Can you
Yeah.
can you be topless here?
No,
You can't go to the beach and be topless.
no. You have to go to a special beach here.
I mean, by law, you
outrageous.
can't. By law in Australia, you can't either. But no one does anything.
Yeah,
about
they
it.
don't
Really?
care.
Yeah.
You're not meant to be.
I didn't know there was
I
a
don't
law.
think that's true.
It's public. It's indecent exposure.
At the beach, you're not meant to.
The beach is the same as you know, a
Okay.
kilometre inland.
Alright,
It's the same,
fair enough.
Same laws, but no one does anything because
Yeah.
it's the beach.
You know, for me as a surfer, I've seen so many films that sort of romanticize surfing and try to make it into, you know, the Karate Kid with wetsuits or something, or some spiritual thing, and that, you know, that's fine, but it's not my reality, you know.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make something gritty, and you know, essentially, so it's more like a boys in the hood at the beach.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it's, you know, it's you know, it's dealing with loyalty and family, and you know, what it means to be part of a group, and the dangers of a very patriarchal group. And it's being produced by a guy named Adam Schroeder.
Okay.
So he produced Chronicle.
He did
and-
Chronicle and
Oh, nice.
you know, a plethora of like other films over sort of the last 15, 20
Truman
years.
Show. And
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
really,
pretty awesome.
Yeah, really amazing artist, and but yeah, you know, I think that's a really important theme of you know, amongst a very patriarchal group and a very Boise machismo culture.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that sometimes women can have difficult you know, can be put in difficult positions, and you know, have to deal with neglect and all this other sort of thing. So yeah, that's certainly a part of it. But
you know, you've touched on, you know, a bunch of things. The patriarchal society and sort of the negative elements of that. That's one thing that you know, Dave was bringing in sort of, you know, a real clocking of that, an acknowledgement of that later on in drafts. But I would say probably, you know, like probably the main theme of it from the beginning, and you know, the what did you say the other night? The kernel of the idea originally is a story about brotherhood and loyalty and the beauty of that in amongst basically an environment where it's a miracle if anyone can survive and if anyone can turn out okay. Like it's a, you know, it's in the midst of very tough upbringing when a lot of people aren't necessarily born into a situation where they have their immediate blood is representing what family should be. Not everyone, but a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
And the community steps up and goes, we will be a family. And there's a beautiful element to that. And there's positive elements and negative elements
Wow.
to the whole world. But that's what sort of attracted me to it. You know, the first time Dave sort of sent it to me and the first time I read it, it's just an incredible sense of community and family and you know, surviving against the odds, basically.
yeah,
That sounds
yeah.
really cool.
Yeah, definitely. There's the light and sort of break through that.
That sounds really, really amazing.
Mm.
Well, I can't wait to see it. When you guys going to start shooting it? Maybe next year or something like that? Or?
Yeah, we're looking at
Yeah.
shooting it.
Yeah.
First half of 2014. So
Okay.
yeah, hopefully
Exciting.
this time next year it'll be all done.
Well, I'm very happy for you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'd love to cover some of the other projects that you guys have been doing. I know you have been in some pretty big movies here in the U.S. recently. Chronicle was one of them, which I know I thought it was fantastic, and a lot of
Thank you.
the younger kids also really love that movie. They're like, oh, the movie with the teenagers that gets superpowers, and the guys, well, anyway, I don't want to give away the plot to anyone who hasn't seen it yet, but so what was that like for you?
That was amazing. It was, I guess, set in Seattle, Washington. We shot it in Cape Town, South Africa.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Yeah, so, props to the location scouters. And they really, they made it look like Seattle.
Wow.
And then I think we did 5 days of additional photography late 2011, which was in Vancouver. So you've got Cape Town and Vancouver
All good.
looking like, but honestly it's mostly Cape Town, and it's just insane what they did.
Yeah. It must have been for tax incentives and special, deals for all these places. Instead of just going to Seattle, it would have been so much easier, right?
Yeah, next to nothing is shot in the States anymore. It's
it's a bummer.
here and there, but pretty rare. For the most part, most studio movies will shoot outside because it's better for them financially. They had there was a general mantra on set which was get it in camera in terms of special effects. It was all of
very very sort of simple project.
Very
as well.
simple
Just,
concept, simple script, but a brilliant, unique idea executed masterfully, and so yeah.
Well, it definitely was something that was different. At least for me, watching the movie, I could tell that the way that they did the special effects was kind of a new way of doing things now. I mean, it's just very realistic, and it didn't look like you had this 3D animation guy so much flying around as I've seen before.
They did everything in camera where possible, and where it just wouldn't work, then they would go, okay, so that's going to be CG. But basically, they used as little as possible. It's like if you have too much of it, I think it becomes tiresome. I think it disconnects the audience and alienates them. If it's used, if it's peppered through nicely in amongst a base that is more tangible, that's when you've got something really good. And I think that they pretty much did that.
They
with
did
Chronicle.
a great job. They did a really good job.
I found it what they did. I feel like I'm not sort of gloating because I had nothing to do with it. So I feel like I can sort of say that I really admired what those guys did.
Yeah.
and I thought it was wonderful. And
What was it like when they had you come in and do the casting call, and then can you tell me the story, like when you first knew that you were going to get the part?
How many auditions?
It was a lot, and I think I went in. I probably did almost. If you added it up, it'd be the better part of 10 hours of auditioning. I think it was.
That must have been extremely nerve-wracking. I mean, you're like you go in and you're like.
Not at all. Because by the time you're at like hour number 4, you just don't care anymore. I mean, you care. You want the job, but like, it's like you guys don't make me nervous anymore. I've seen you like 13 times. Like,
you're like, why you send me home, and then do you know at that point when you go home they're like, we pretty much are sure we're gonna use you or something like that? Is that how it goes?
It was so they were
cold.
If they were cold, maybe I would have been nervous from beginning to end. But they were just very warm and sort of caring and open, and just wanted to create a comfortable, working environment for the artists and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And Dane was already cast by the time we were doing mix and matches. And he basically committed as hard as if he was auditioning himself or as if he was shooting the movie. So I immediately got a good sense. I was like, if this is going to happen, this is going to be a good project, because this guy is connecting with me and being as generous as I would expect from someone on set.
That's a lovely experience, I think.
Yeah.
To get someone reading with and committing and being generous as far as helping you get that performance.
Yeah, it was just wonderful.
That makes a huge difference, I'm sure.
Massive difference. And Schroeder was Adam Schroeder was, who we were talking about before, produced the movie. So he was in the room, and we had a bunch of other people in the room as well. The head of casting at Fox and the casting director, and everyone was just so helpful and caring.
But yeah, that year, so that was 2011. Chronicle? Or was it 2012. So
2011.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that was a really interesting year. It was kind of a hard year. We were both here. We'd done pilot season. Andy was here, and none of us had booked anything. We'd been here for quite a long time, and it was a bit tricky.
That's rough going.
Yeah.
I think you'd come down to like the last 2 people on about 7 projects.
Yeah. I'd come.
And you were like, ah!
Yeah, I'd come like this close, like 6 or 7 times.
Oh my god, that must have been crazy.
And then that came through just before we're about to, I think, go home.
Really?
Maybe a week before.
Yeah.
We're about to go home.
Yeah, it was.
So you guys were like, we're done with this. We're doing that.
Well, we planned to go home at that point, but I think it certainly made it a more satisfying trip.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely sort of, for me it was like a wonderful pat on the back for, it had just been months and months of sort of chipping away, and you know how it is, this industry, it's just so sporadic and unpredictable and whatever, so that was definitely a nice little, it was a little reward, a massive reward.
A massive reward.
Yeah.
It was a great.
So how did they do it? Did they call you up? Who called you?
Josh Trank, the director, called me and left. I missed him, and I just had a voicemail.
Yeah.
And I was in Chase's kitchen, and when I listened to the voicemail, I remember exactly where I was standing because I was so happy.
Yeah, that's so cool. And you've done some other movies too that are kind of high profile, like.
Yeah. So I did. We shot Chronicle in 2011, and then that came out last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year I shot Carrie, and that's coming out now, coming out for Halloween.
Yeah.
And I did a small character on The Host. I don't know if you did that Stephanie Meyer one.
Right.
If you know that one.
Yeah, that one just came out just recently also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. When did that come out? March maybe or something.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that was really cool.
So how was it on Carrie? Tell us a little bit about Carrie, because it's Halloween and that's the scary movie, and so.
Carrie was really fun. It was a big challenge. They just did a tremendous job. It's a really great cast. It's quite, as much as it is.
Yeah, you guys worked with Julianne Moore, and I mean, did you have scenes with her?
Yeah, I didn't really work with her or Chloe very much because
Right.
I'm the bad guy,
You're
so I'm
like-
sort of like lurking in the shadows,
Yeah.
plotting Carrie's destruction.
Oh man.
So yeah, I mean, but you know, we were sort of around each other and blah blah blah. Julianne and Chloe were just lovely to work with, completely. You know, for people that are so well accomplished in the industry as artists and so high profile, you know, you'd never know it type thing.
That's great.
You know, Chloe is the lead of the movie. You know, she's been carrying films since she was a little girl, and you know, there's not a trace of ego type thing. So
That's so
it's just
cool.
nice to be around
Ah,
talented people.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
So it's quite a big buzz about the whole Carrie movie. So
Yeah.
it's pretty
yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, it's pretty different too. So I think like even if you've seen the old one,
Yeah.
you know, maybe if you have a massive loyalty to the old one, I don't know if you know people that are real traditionalists with that particular story. I'm not sure how they'll receive it, but I think it's good. It's fun, and very different. So I think it's got something different to offer,
Cool.
which you need to have. You know.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about this next movie that you're going to be working on, the Unbroken movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me too.
Yeah. So that's going to be Angelina Jolie is directing.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you're going to be, what your role is in the movie?
Yeah. So the movie is it's called Unbroken, and it's about a guy called Louis Zamperini, who was basically an American hero. He a lot of people don't kind of know his story. He was an Olympian. He was a runner in the 1936, I think, the 1936 Berlin Olympics.
Wow.
And he was very young at the time. I think he might have been like 19 years old. He was a bit of a juvenile delinquent before that. And his older brother, so I play his older brother Pete in the older years, but when they were younger, Pete basically got him out of the rubbish that he was into and got him into, you know, really sort of a life of athleticism and focus and all that sort of thing. And
Wow.
he goes to the Olympics. It culminates in him meeting Adolf Hitler, and then World War II breaks out. There is no next Olympics, and he goes off to war. And the upshot of it all is it's an incredible prisoner of war story.
Well, I'm so happy to have you guys on the show, and it was really cool to hear about all your projects and the next ones that's coming up. And Sons of... Thank you so much for watching Alex Russell and David O'Donnell on
The Red Booth!